Hola y bienvenidos a Late to the Fiesta. I'm the host this week, Nate the Great. We got Josh, Lego, and Jose Vargas. We are short a couple people this week, but we all get to have a bigger screen, so that's amazing. This week we are reviewing a Clint Eastwood new classic, Gran Torino, 2008. It is an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, 72% Metacritic. And let's see, Josh, do we got a score on Walmart.com from this? You're a Walmart.com aficionado.
You know, I didn't look it up beforehand. Sorry.
Okay. We'll let Walmart.com go by the wayside this time. All right. So this movie is about an old vet widower who just the movie starts with him at the funeral of his wife, who I'm sure was a Mrs. Claus type sent from heaven to be the yin to his crotchety yang. And he lives in a formerly, well, it's Michigan, so formerly blue collar bastion of American prosperity. Now it's not. So there's lots of there's Latino gangs and black gangs and Asian gangs, the Hmong, who fled Southeast Asia because of a genocide that they were escaping from there. They were granted refugee status. It's a really interesting story if you want to check that out on the side. It's worth taking your own little side road, see what happened with the Hmong people. Very interesting. But let's just get right into it. So we're gonna go around and just talk about. I want to say that this one's probably a little bit unorthodox. I don't really have a plan, so I'm just gonna, whatever I feel like talking about, I'm just gonna go into it. And if you guys want to ever see an opportunity to grab the reins and you have something you want to talk about, then go for it. But I figure we can get, go off the reservation with this one a little bit. So I will start a little bit with a classic question. What do we think about the acting in this movie? And I'll start with you, Lego.
The acting's phenomenal, I think. Clint Eastwood's just a force, man. He really, really nailed that role. And I think all the other actors did as well, too. I guess if I'd have to say anybody's performance was weak, I'd guess the teenage boy. Sorry, his name is escaping me right now.
Cow.
Yes, thank you.
Toad.
Yeah. I don't know if I was super captivated by his performance, but I think that partially was because of the personality of his character. He was supposed to be kind of more reserved and chip on his shoulder and all that. So I don't know if it was a lack of personality from the actor or if that's just kind of how the character was meant to be portrayed, I guess. But I felt like all the characters were very real people and believable.
All right, Vargas.
Yeah, just gonna kind of piggyback off of what Lego said. I think other than the teenager, but I think I believed him as a teenager, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, man, definitely Clint Eastwood knocked it out of the park. He is, as Lego described him, a force. I'm a sucker for a good redemption story, and I really enjoyed this one. I kind of went in with it not knowing what to expect.
So you hadn't seen it before?
No, I hadn't. So
anybody else didn't see it before? Josh and Lego,
no,
had
I
you
think
seen it?
I think we'd both seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it, so I didn't know. I mean, I'd watched other Clint Eastwood movies, but more of the older stuff. I know that people have talked about him having a coming back and kind of flipping the script on a lot of the stuff, because he was more of a Western star, or like kind of like those Dirty Harry, like those shoot 'em ups. So to see him actually, and I've seen a couple because my dad was kind of a fan. He's always liked Westerns and stuff like that. So I was a little familiar with his work in the past. So to see something where he's acting and he killed the role, man. He did a really great job. I really fell for him, and that ending really got me, because I was like, wow, I really ended up liking this character a lot. So you have to be a special kind of person to do that, and draw you in and give the movie a chance. So he did that. They all did that. Everybody in that community, and everybody in the everybody. So
Josh?
kudos.
Yeah, I mean, I can't add a whole lot more to what was said. I think that the acting in the show or the film is spectacular, especially with a lot of the background characters, like Walt's kids, his two sons and their families. Just the shallowness of those characters really comes out a lot, and you feel for Walt. You get a good appraisal for why he has so much angst and regret in his life, because he never was able to connect with his kids because they're just different people.
Yeah, that's a great segue into the next question, and I'll start it. We'll go in reverse. So it goes back. We'll go back in the same order. So, one of the revelations that I had watching the movie this time, because this is the second time I saw it. The first time I thought it was just like an old racist guy's redemption story. But then this time, as I'm watching it, I'm like, wouldn't him being racist mean that he would hold one race ahead of another race, and or hold one race inferior to another race? And as I'm watching it, I'm just like, he thinks everybody's a piece of crap, and until they showed him otherwise, then they're okay people. So I didn't on the second watch of this, I'm like, you know what, even him calling his barber, whatever slur he was dropping on his barber when he was talking to him, it was a term of endearment that his barber was giving back to him, as well as the foreman at the job when he was taking Tao down to the job site to get him the job. And the interactions that he had with his cohorts and his buddies, they were very just like, old school bagadocious with each other. So did this feeling resonate with all of you guys? I'll start with you, Lego. Or do you think that now he's just a curmudgeonly old racist dude?
Well, I think he certainly, I mean, racism's a hard thing to define, I mean, I think we could kind of get tangled up in what it is to be racist. I think he probably, I think Clint Eastwood was probably racist his character was racist. But that didn't mean that he was incapable of change or acceptance or even love for other people. But I do think it's kind of like you said, sorry, I'm just thinking out loud right now.
No,
I haven't really thought about this. But yeah, I think that is kind of the way I see a lot of people communicate. It's through bullying each other in a jokey way. I think that's how a lot of people connect. And I mean, I've noticed that even with my friends, it's we know how much we can take and how much you can push someone. And that's kind of how you get to know someone. It's you give and you take a little, and you take it all in stride. And if you can't take it in stride, then most people wouldn't want to really hang out with you. So I don't know if that was Clint's character, if he was rolling up to teenagers on the street calling them slurs and just testing them for friendship. But I think there was some genuine racism, but obviously at the end of the movie, you can decide if he was redeemed or not.
Jose?
More than anything else, it's not a story of a racist redemption. This is a man. This is a human story that we can, personally, we all have prejudice. He kept it real. We all have prejudice. We all just, some of us just, he was just more vocal about it. But I don't know, man. I felt like it was a beautiful story that would be difficult to tell in today's time, because more people would take it at face value and wouldn't really sit down, and they would miss the entire point. And that made me kind of sad to know that that's kind of the environment that we're in now. I mean, we don't even, this, like I said, it's not Clint Eastwood acting a racist, just that there's a story here, and I think people need to give it a chance. And I'll admit,
hold that thought, Vargas, because that's question number 3. you're going down the thing.
Okay. You got me going.
Yeah. No. That's where I was going with it. Mr. Scott.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it the first time that a lot of the racial and ethnic and national slurs that he uses in the movie, at least back then when this movie came out, I found to be kind of disturbing. Interestingly enough, this time around, it didn't seem to bother me as much. And I think maybe that's because of the environment that we're in. But one of the things that also struck me was that the way that he deals with the construction foreman and his barber is the same way that he deals with everyone else. And it reminded me of my childhood, that in certain circles, that was the way that like family gatherings or other events would take place, where people would get together and they would just, go after each other about being Polish or Irish or German or whatever. And it occurred to me that this might be a function of European heritage. With all of those countries, even though they contain Caucasian people, they're all very different cultures and often even different languages. So there's a lot of ground for people to be distrustful of one another and even notice cultural particularities that they find strange or distasteful. And it reminded me also of I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking way out on this, but there's a similar thing that goes on with Latin American countries. You might have a similar appearance to one another, but I seem to remember friends back in the day being very offended if they were Mexican and you called them Cuban or vice versa. There was like this separation there. And so I often wonder if people who see this movie today will see him as being racist, when really this is like normative, the normative way that friends can interact with one another when they come from diverse cultures.
Awesome. All right, Jose.
Yes, sir.
Keep on going.
No, man, it's the irony of everything that we are trying to preach, not to judge people at face value, not to judge people, yet I feel like this movie would be judged off face value alone. Like the moment somebody said the new Clint Eastwood movie is racist, this is what he says, and that would already deter so many people from going to see it, as opposed to actually sitting down and forming your own opinion. It's almost like, wait, let me hop on Twitter and let me ask Twitter how I should be feeling about this movie.
We'll rotate that to Lego. Could this movie be made today? Would the Twitterati let this movie be made today? Would they even give it a chance?
Well, I mean, maybe this movie would give the newer generation some insight into the way the world was before the internet took over everything. I'd like to think that Clint Eastwood probably has enough money to make whatever movie he damn well wants. He can, if he wants to write and direct and star in it, I think he can get the necessary funds together for that. Whether or not Twitter agrees or not. That being said, I don't know if an aspiring young filmmaker could bring this idea to a studio, and there's tales and tales of different studios having problems with people even making the mere utterance of a racist inkling. So it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But I think having the Clint Eastwoods make it pretty good.
For sure. And lastly, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think it could be made today, and I think it's because somehow in the last 13 years, our culture has become so shallow that we cannot see past whatever our first knee-jerk reaction is. And like Jose, that made me sad because I remember that the world was more free and more open back then. And you have to think that this movie is only 2008. You know, things were pretty darn good in 2008 that you could put a movie like this out and it could be so highly acclaimed. And now, you know, people go back through tweets, you know, done 8 years ago and they want to cancel you. So I don't have a lot of confidence given the trajectory of our culture that people by and large could even take this movie as it is.
Right on.
And what's sad too is that he had a lot of young actors and actresses in that movie. It's like, can you imagine being like a young up and comer and hey, you're going to be in a Clint Eastwood? Not only that, but you're a minority who historically has struggled to get any kind of footing in Hollywood. And here you have one of the biggest stars coming to you and saying, yo, I want you to be in my movie. Yes, it will be a little racial, but let me tell you what the whole story's about. Cool, I want to be a part of that project. And now you have one part of society saying, oh my God, he's being racist. Just off of that alone, let's cancel this movie. Let's not watch it. So what happens to the hard work of those individuals that you're trying to protect? Ironically, you're shutting the door on them. You know, because of that, they're not going to get the views and you know, they're not going to get seen. And they did a fantastic job. Like I said, even the teenage kid, I believe them as a teenager. You imagine him not getting that opportunity because of, you know, something that the main dude was saying. It's a shame.
And not only that, this is presented in a way that both the right and the left should be able to take in, you know, and it should be the kind of thing that can bring people together, bridge gaps, where you have that diversity and the inclusion without having it ring bells of forced, you know, Mary Sue's and rewriting, you know, origin stories of Iceman and things like that. It's just a story that naturally has these things in there. It doesn't feel like somebody's beating you over the head with diversity, and you know, which we do need diversity, we do need representation, but it needs to be done in a way that is organic. And I think it came off well in this movie. It came off really well. So
I think that's that. Just to dovetail on that, Nate, and I think we all agree that an organic diversity and an organic inclusiveness is appropriate, but that's because I think we all agree on what diversity and inclusion actually are, and not what's constantly thrown in our face, which is not what it is. It's a straw man of diversity and inclusion, and it's weaponized in order to get rid of people whose opinions you don't care for.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I mean, you said it well. You guys have got any other piggybacks on that?
You guys both said it very well.
That's good. I think this is a pretty deep talk. I think it's
it's a pretty deep movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of those where it's just like, whoa, like look, and it forces you to really think. Like I said, it's not one of those movies you can just take at face value. Like, you have to make those parallels. You have to make those connections. You have to find, you know, what it is that, what was the goal of the movie. And I think, you know, if you keep it self-contained the way it is, it does a fantastic job. I said, don't take little inserts don't take this one piece of it and you know, this is what's in the movie. No, watch the whole damn thing. Watch the whole damn thing and form your own opinion. But force yourself to look at it, like make yourself think. Well, don't just sit there, there's no action. They stole the car, cool car. No, you have to really think. And I think that's the other part of the world that we're in today. Nobody wants to think. Everybody wants to be spoon-fed what the lesson should be. And that can't be the case. That if that's the case, then you might as well just jump on Twitter and let jump on Instagram. Let them tell you how to feel. No, think for yourself, man. Like watch it, form your own opinions on stuff. You'll thank yourself later.
100%. You know, and I want to say that when I first watched this movie, I watched it when it was. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan, so I watched it when it came out early. So none of the spoilers or any of that were in circulation as it happened. But I was somewhat disappointed that he didn't go Dirty Harry on those guys when he went to their place when I first watched it. So I think that seeing it now and seeing it during today's political climate, I think that I don't know if it was intentional or if, you know, he had a crystal ball in the garage or something like that, but the vision of things to come, because 2008 is, although it wasn't that long ago politically, it was a long time ago. I think 2008, that was when the big market crash happened. That was when all the banks got their bailouts and everything. That was
Obama was elected.
Yeah, that was a Bush-Obama transition. So, like, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was a long time ago. I mean, you know, in political, on the political clock, it was a long time ago. And like I said, whether or not it was intentional, what they saw, the writing on the wall that Eastwood saw was freaking amazing. So when we get into the buckets, which we'll do right now, you know, I just want that to be on our minds when we do it. So without further ado, unless you guys have anything else, let's go into the buckets. Lego?
This is an easy 10 out of 10. It's awesome. It's heavy, it's deep, it's got a lot to say, and if you're willing to take the time and open your mind and try to see some different perspectives that maybe this generation's not used to, I think it's worth the time. And dude, I'm glad you brought that up though at the end, because I really thought he was going to go in there. I didn't remember the ending because I'd seen it, you know, in 2008. It's been a while. Yeah. I was a little disappointed that he didn't go in there and shoot him up. You know, I don't know that I have that much faith in the American justice system to see those kids punished duly. But you know, it's a good message. I think the idea of self-sacrifice is cool, and obviously redeeming. And you know, we could go down that, but 10 out of 10 for me. Pass it off to Jose.
Yeah, well, not just politically, but 2008 was a long time ago, my guy. I didn't have a daughter in 2008. And I've always joked about how I don't remember my life before my daughter is, but I just can't imagine my daughter without it. Like, and my son, but I'm just speaking because my daughter's the oldest.
First one, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, there was a game a while ago, one of the last few games that actually brought a tear to my eye, made me whimper like a kid, and that was Red Dead Redemption. And if anybody that's played Red Dead Redemption knows that ending, he goes out in a blaze of glory. I can't say I was disappointed that he didn't shoot him up, but you know, the fact that he was mowing the lawn, he picked his suit out, he locked the kid up. Like, I already knew like something's coming, and I don't think it's gonna be a shoot up. I think it's gonna be him sacrificing himself. So I kind of had that. So when it actually happened, I was like, oh man, I knew it. But with all that, with everything, like I said, this is an easy 10 out of 10, and I'm kind of disappointed that it's not going to be referenced as much as it should be, because I think it is an important film in today's environment. So 10 out of 10.
Mr. Scott?
Yeah, it's real hard not to give this one a 10. And the only reason that I hesitate is not because of the movie itself, but because of where our culture's gone. This movie ought to have a lot of long-term like influence, and I think that we're so averse that it's not going to have the impact that it should have. But I'm going to go ahead and give it 10 because of where it ought to be, not where we are.
Right on. Yes. And I want to say that, yeah, I'm a 10 also. I'll give it the Bullwinkle 10. And especially because of where we are. Especially because of where we are. Not only that, but I'm not gonna. I don't have the time to do it all the time, but this movie's gonna get this review is gonna get the treatment. I'm gonna put in all the bells and whistles and get the music in there and all that stuff. And I'm sure Lego, let's spend a little bit of extra time to get us that clickbait thumbnail on there, because people need to see this. People need to hear this.
Make us all Gran Torinos.
Cars 4.
I know last week everybody was joking that this movie is about me as an old man. And I was kind of, laughing along with it, but I was like watching this and I'm like, I think this is probably true. I like every scene in the movie, I'm like, yeah, I know where he's at. I know where he's at.
Please don't instigate a bunch of gangsters, Josh. We love you. Don't do that.
Well, I can't make any promises. They're right outside my door.
Well, wait for a moment to redeem yourself. Don't just do it now. There's no redemption yet.
All right. So thanks again, everybody, for watching Late to the Party, and please take that time to smash the like button and to click the bell. Hear what's going on with our stuff. We got lots of creators on this channel, and we've all got great things to do and to say. And we don't want you to miss any of it. So for Late to the Party, I'm Nate the Great.
Jason.
John Jose.
I'm Josh.
We'll see you next week.